Coming up on the Suze Orman Show, what you are responsible for and what you are not when it comes to other loved ones' debt. Also,
it just seems like every month we get all the bills, and it just seems like he's in a lot of pain over everything.
You repeat after me, my dear Marie. I am not going to let my husband or myself refinance my home to pay off credit card debt. Say it. And you ask me, can I afford it?
I want to buy a Coach handbag.
A Coach handbag for $298.
But it's so beautiful.
Well, honey, they all are, trust me. Hi, everybody. I'm Suze Orman, and you are watching the Suze Orman Show. Tonight, I want to start by talking to you about debt. Not your debt. No. You probably have enough of your own. But debt of other people's that maybe you feel that you're going to be responsible for one day. Maybe it's your parents. Maybe it's your kids. But here's what you need to know. Let's first talk about your parents. I know, we all think our parents should be absolutely financially responsible, that by the time they get older and when they die, that they're going to leave us money. That's our wish or our dream. Sometimes, however, our parents are not financially responsible and they actually die with credit card debt. And then you're wondering, are you legally responsible for the debt that your parents leave you? Do you personally, out of your own money, have to pay off their credit card debt? The answer to that question is no, you do not. If there is any money in the estate at all that they are leaving you, of course, that money first needs to go to pay off their debtors. But let's say they die and all they leave you is credit card debt. That is it. There is nothing else, no home, nothing. You just need to know it is not your problem. That debt dies with them. Got that? Next, you have kids. Have you ever wondered, why is it when your children go to a university, a college, that these credit card companies give them credit? They don't have a job, they don't have any money, they don't have any credit ratings. What's going on there? I'll tell you what's going on there. The credit card companies, in my opinion, have a feeling, and a very good feeling, because you usually do this, that when your kids get in credit card trouble, mommy and daddy, you save them. You pay the bills for them. So they're hoping you're always going to do that until they get through with college and they go out on their own. Now, you find it strange that once the kids are out of college and they're on their own outside of the university and then they apply for credit, the credit card companies say, nah, denied. You are not legally responsible for your child's credit card debt either that they have opened up in their name. And if I were you, I would not save my children. If they got themselves into credit card trouble when they're young, let them feel what that's like to be in trouble, so that as they get older, they already have learned a lesson that is an important one to learn. So are you responsible for other people's debt in those two situations? The answer is you are not. But whose debt are you responsible for? Obviously, you're responsible for your own credit card debt. But if you happen to be married and your spouse runs up credit card debt in their individual name after you have gotten married, or if you have a joint account with your spouse, then something happens. Your spouse dies, your spouse divorces you, or you divorce your spouse. You will be legally responsible for that credit card debt. So be very careful. I always say on the Suze Orman Show, M just doesn't stand for marriage, it also stands for money. So there are legal obligations when you get married, and you better know what they are. Sean is coming to us tonight from Sacramento, California. Sean, boyfriend.
How you doing, Suze?
You know what? I couldn't be better, sir. I could not be better. And you?
I'm very well.
Well, okay, but you know, people come on the Suze Orman Show because they have a question, and usually, not all the time, but usually the question is something that means they're not so well financially speaking, so let me hear it.
Well, Susie, recently I just moved back in with my family due to some extraordinary debt of, I'd say, over $65,000. And I am a complete compulsive spender from new Jaguars, Mustangs, Coach, Louis Vuitton, anything of that nature. I have had to have it.
How old are you?
I am 28 years old.
28 years of age. And when did this compulsive spending start?
I believe it started when I was about 21 years old.
21. Okay, go on.
In the midst of all my spending, I have had to have my family and my parents bail me out upwards of $100,000 in, I'd say, the last 10 years. And it is now at this point that I'm living at home with my family again in complete financial ruin. Recently, I just had to file Chapter 7 bankruptcy here in California. And fortunately enough, I just started a new job making almost $5,000 a month. And I'm looking for a fresh start, Susie. I don't want to make the same mistakes that I made before. And I want some advice on how to do what I should do with my money at this point.
All right, so just so I'm really, really clear, did I hear this right, that besides the $65,000 of debt that you currently have, that you've just claimed bankruptcy on, your parents bailed you out of an additional $100,000 of debt from the years past?
Correct.
So in just 7 years, you spent $165,000, and you're worried now that you're going to do it again.
Yes.
When you're looking at doing it again, I always think it's important to understand why you did it in the past. Why did you have this need to define yourself by the things that you had around you rather than you define the things that you have around you? Because that's what compulsive shopping is. It's not that you love to spend money. It's you love to look like you're more than you are. You love to impress people that you don't even know or like. You love to give an impression that isn't true. So what was it about you that you didn't want people to know, that you were ashamed of, that something was going on that you felt deep down inside, that you had to define yourself by your Jaguars, by your Louis Vuittons, by all these things? What was it, my dear Sean?
I'm going to have to say probably my sexuality, Susie.
All right, so when you say your sexuality, tell me what you mean by that.
I came out at a young age. I am a gay male.
Yes.
And in my family, that really wasn't the most acceptable thing. And I think that I built some insecurities around that. And to make myself feel secure in the world that I was living in, I felt it necessary to truly to revel in these lavish things, to keep up with the Joneses as well, you know.
So don't you find it interesting that you had this family thing going on, you come out, it wasn't really well accepted in your family, if that's what I heard you say correctly, and yet it was your family that bailed you out to the tune of $100,000, and now you've moved back in with them. So how does that work?
Well, I think it was my own self-perception of them not accepting me, which obviously they have, Susie. But it was, really my own insecurities of who I was as a person and what I felt people would like me for.
Now, here is the question, because you've come on the Suze Orman Show to say, how do you not do this again?
Yes, please help me.
You did it because you had a misconception about how others perceived you, about how your family perceived you, and maybe even how you perceived yourself. Here you are, 28 years of age now. Do you accept your sexuality?
Oh, yes.
100%?
Oh, yes.
Does your family accept your sexuality? 100%?
Yes.
Do the people that you're friends with, do your employers, does everybody around you accept it?
Yes, across the board, Susie.
If that's true, then the need to define yourself by these things has gone away, because you spent all this money at a time where you were operating from a misconception rather than reality. When you base yourself in reality, you don't need to buy things you can't afford, which is the biggest lie anybody can tell. However, emotions and feelings are one thing. Now we have to translate those into what do you actually do with your money.
Yeah, what's the resolution?
Here's the resolution. You're now making $5,000 a month. Do
Correct.
you feel, regardless of what your parents want, do you feel you need to pay your parents back so that you can come clean with yourself?
Yes, I do.
All right. Do you feel that even though you are claiming, have you already claimed Chapter 7 bankruptcy, or are you claiming Chapter 7?
It's been claimed.
It's been claimed, so all that debt is gone.
Correct.
So, all right, that's there. You need to work out a repayment schedule with mom, with dad, whoever lends you money,
Okay.
so that you can come clean with what you owe them. You might even want to go so far, because $65,000 of this debt was dismissed. You might want to, over the years, as you become more successful, as you have more money, you might want to designate a portion of that money to donate it to some nonprofit or place of worship of your choice, so that you can help those less fortunate than you to also pay back that karmic debt, so to speak, of having claimed bankruptcy. Now we're starting to make the slate clean and pure. Along with that, the $5,000, do they have a retirement plan at work that you can join?
Yes, they pay in almost $12,000 yearly.
All right, so if they do, you're going to join that. You're going to never use your credit cards again that you cannot pay for in full once that bill comes in at the end of the month. You're going to start saving money where you have at least an 8-month emergency fund. You're going to start saving for a down payment on a home so that one day you can move out. As soon as you have enough money, you should move out and rent an apartment somewhere, so that in fact what can happen, you can be a man who stands on his own and he doesn't have to be living with his parents. And you have got to not be spending money on any more trinkets. No more new cars, no more new bags, no more defining yourself by these things. And every time you go to spend money, you need to remember that you sat here with me and you said, please help. I don't want to do this anymore. And you can stop yourself from sabotaging your entire financial future. Do you have what it takes to do that?
I believe so, Susie.
No, let's try it again.
I do.
You have what it takes to do so, Sean?
Yes, I do.
Yes, I do, Susie. And yes, I am going to. That's the type of power you need to come from. That's the type of conviction you need to have to turn this around. So you can do that, but you have to stay in that power from today for the rest of your life. Now you know. Marie, you're on the air with me. How are you, Marie?
Hi, Susie. I'm doing okay.
Oh, uh-oh, that's already an indicator. Okay, what's the matter?
Well, my husband would like to take out a second mortgage to pay off credit card bills. He developed a gambling problem, and we've been working through this. He started gambling after several stressful personal situations. We have about $50,000 in credit card bills, and I'm not sure what's the best way to manage the debt.
Well, the first thing I just have to say, you are not. You repeat after me, my dear Marie. I am not going to let my husband or myself refinance my home to pay off credit card debt. Say it.
I will not let my husband convince me to take out another loan on the house to pay off our credit card debt.
That's correct, because your home is in both of your names, correct?
Yes.
You need both signatures, your signature and his, to take out a loan. Don't you dare do that. And you should tell him, if you find out that he forged your name on those documents, you're going to go right to the people and report him for having done so. So you're not going to take out a loan. Here's the question, however. What are we going to do to stop him from accumulating more debt? Have you thought of that?
Yes, we started counseling,
Yeah.
and we're going through counseling. He's depressed, and he has a lot of anger and shame about the gambling, and it just seems like every month we get all the bills, and it just seems like he's in a lot of pain over everything, and just looking at the volume of everything, and I think in his mind he thinks it'd be easier to just have the one payment.
Yeah, no, he's not going to do it. The cardinal rule on the Suze Orman Show, and I say this all the time, is you never ever take secured debt, which is secured by a line of credit or a mortgage on a home, to pay off unsecured debt, which is a credit card. If you can't pay a mortgage payment, they will take your home from you. If you cannot pay credit card debt, they may sue you, put a lien on your home, but they can't do anything besides that, really. Do you understand? So
Yes.
you are not going to make that mistake.
All my credit cards were paid off about 2 years ago, and when I looked at my credit report, it showed that I was late about 3 times on credit cards. Would this be enough to deny the credit card?
You are caught in the credit card crunch right now. And later, when wanting something, ask me, can I afford it?
My husband and I want to go on a world adventure backpacking trip because we want to find more meaning in our life.
Oh, and you're going to find it up there in the mountains, right? Welcome back to the Suze Orman Show. Sharon, you have a question for me.
Yes, hi. Thank you so much. I was recently just turned down for a credit card, and they said I was turned down because my revolving credit balances were too low, and I have a poor delinquent payment history. Right now, I don't have any credit card balances. I have no car payment. I only have a mortgage. And all my credit cards were paid off about 2 years ago. And when I looked at my credit report, it showed that that I was late about 3 times on credit cards. Would this be enough to deny the credit card?
Obviously, because somebody did deny you. And here is the problem. Even though you look at your credit reports, you think everything is doing okay, you are caught in the credit card crunch right now. Every lender out there, because of the subprime mess, is looking at every single person who wants a credit card and wondering to themselves, do they want this credit card so that they can pay their mortgage payment? Do they want this credit card to get themselves out of trouble? They are running scared, my dear one. So therefore, when you have been late on payments, and 3 late payments is a lot, did you know that 35% of your FICO score, that's the largest percentage out there, 35% of your FICO score is made up of your bill payment history when you are late with your payments on your bills. You've been late 3 times, and you're wondering why they've denied you. Todd in Texas, that stands for TNT. Is this a dynamite situation you're about to ask me about?
Big time.
Big time. All right, go for it.
I've been a teacher for the last 11 years, and I've recently switched careers. I'm 47 and am taking out everything that's in my teacher's retirement to put into an IRA. It's about not quite $27,000. My question is, should I pay the taxes now and leave it in a traditional IRA, or should I go ahead and convert it to a Roth, pay the taxes later on the traditional, pay the taxes now if I convert it, and then when I start pulling out distributions, it'll be tax-free if I put it into the Roth.
Here's what I would do if I were you. I would start to, because you're still so young, you're 47. You may not need this money forever, truthfully. So if I were you, I would roll the money from my 403B into an IRA rollover. And then little by little, I would be taking money and converting it to a Roth, and I would do the calculation. How much could I convert without really changing my tax bracket? If that's $5,000 a year, if that's $3,000 a year, maybe it's $10,000 a year because you're currently not working, but whatever it is, little by little, start to do that. And that's what I think you should do. Laura, you're up next.
Hi.
Hi, how are you, Laura? It's Susie.
Hi, it's exciting talking to you. My husband and I have been watching your show for years.
Can you believe it has been years that the Suze Orman Show is on?
I know.
If we're lucky, we'll get to stay here for a few more. Okay, girlfriend, what's up?
Well, I'm self-employed. I am a graphic designer working from home with so I can stay with my 6-month-old baby, and I'm trying to figure out what type of retirement plan I should set up for myself.
Does your husband have a retirement plan at work?
Yes, my husband has a retirement plan at work. It's 50% of his final income, and he is also doing a deferred comp, which he puts in $20 a month.
Oh, so only $20 a
Or,
month.
I'm sorry, $20 a week.
A week. So
Right.
essentially, though, you were looking at $80 a month, correct?
Right.
How old did you say you were?
25.
You're 25.
Yeah.
And so how much does between you and your husband, do you make jointly?
Well, he makes about $42.50 with overtime, and I make about $40 a year.
All right, so what I would be doing if I were you, because you make under the limit that X's you from being able to do this, is I would be putting at least whatever I could into a Roth IRA. In the year 2008 here, the maximum that you can put into a Roth IRA if you are under 50 is $5,000 a year. If you are 50 and older, it's $6,000 a year. So I really think that you should have a Roth IRA. Hey, if your husband can have a Roth IRA as well, I think putting money into a Roth IRA, given your tax brackets and everything, would be a far better thing for you to do. Because remember, any money that you put into a Roth IRA, your original contributions, you can take out any time you want for any reason without taxes and or a penalty. So that gives you somewhere to go for money in case you really need it. Santa Monica, California, we have Sylvie on the air.
Hi, Susie. I love your show.
Thank you.
I wanted to know if I should help my new husband with his debt. We recently got married. I'm 27. I have no debt. I max out my Roth and my daughter's Coverdell. I have emergency funds and a few thousand more in savings. My husband's 32. He has no savings and no emergency fund and owes about $50,000 in student loans at 7%. And I'm considering giving him $20,000 or $30,000 to pay off some of his debt. And I'm wondering if that would break every rule in the Women and Money book if I helped him pay down the debt so we can move on to the rest of our goals.
Here's the thing. It's student loan debt. Is that correct?
It is. It's at 7%.
It's not credit card debt.
No. Most of it is student loans.
Oh, whoa. Either all of it is student loans or all of it is not student loans. How much credit card debt is there?
Well, some of it, there's about $10,000 that's on a credit card. Part of that is credit card debt, and part of it is student loan transferred onto a credit card for a lower interest rate at 3.99 instead of 7%.
And
which is what most of it's at.
When you look at your husband, is he financially responsible now?
He is financially responsible now.
And you love him with all your heart?
I do.
And you don't see him giving large tips or spending money where he shouldn't be spending or gambling or doing any of that?
No.
Then guess what? Help him pay down his student loan debt. Up next, you can't afford to miss Can I Afford It?
My husband would like to buy a 50-inch plasma TV.
Your husband, does that mean you don't want him to? And
I would like to finish my basement.
if you have $16,000 of credit card debt, you're already in the financial basement if you ask me. Where are you going to get another $10,000 to make another basement? You are denied, and I'm going on to the next call.
I really want to buy a Bowflex treadmill.
Kayak.
An African safari.
Peg Hoyer watch.
The Velo triathlon bike.
2008 Hummer H2.
Welcome back to the Can I Afford It segment. I know you all know what this segment is about. You call in, you tell me what it is that you want to buy, and I tell you if you can afford it or not. Are you ready? Let's go. Maya, what do you want to buy?
Hey, Susie, how are you?
Fabulous, thank you.
I want to buy a Coach handbag.
A Coach handbag for $298.
But it's so beautiful.
Well, honey, they all are, trust me. I know whether they're $50 or $2,980. They're beautiful. Show me the money, my dear Maya.
Okay, me and my husband bring home a combined $3,200 a month.
Yep.
Our rent is $800 a month.
Yep.
One credit card at $500, 16%, and 2 car loans that total $27,000.
And how does your husband feel about you buying this handbag?
He understands that I don't treat myself, so he thinks I deserve it also.
Yeah, so you both deserve it, even though we don't have really any money in savings. We're just starting out. We're 25, and I know you think, what's $300 here, $500 there? It's a lot. You are denied. You cannot afford it. Don't you dare get that handbag. Eric, what is it that you want to buy?
Hi, Susie. My wife and I live in a 2-room studio apartment, and right now our bed is in the living area. Our couches got taken back by the people we had temporarily borrowed them from, and I'd like to buy a couch set for my wife for Christmas. It's about $3,100.
So when you say a couch set, because all I'm seeing is one couch there, is it a couch? Is it a chair? Is it something else, or is it just a couch?
Well, it's a couch, a love seat, and an ottoman.
All right, so for three things, it's $3,100. Yes, show me the money.
Our take-home after taxes each month is about $6,500.
Yes.
My rent, I actually pay two rents, one for myself and one for my mom, which is about $1,650 combined.
You pay rent for your mama?
Yeah, I take care of my mom right now.
Oh, Eric, I love that. You're 24 years old and you take care of your mom.
That's right.
Yeah, go on.
My living expenses are between $2,000 and $2,500 a month.
All right, let's stop right here. Let's stop right here because I got to tell you, I'm seeing your finances, but you've already touched my heart because, boyfriend, you're taking care of your mom and you're taking care of yourself and you're not living in that big of a place. Oh, go ahead. You've been approved. You can do it as long as it's for the three pieces. Tiffany, what is it that you want to buy?
Hi, Susie. First of all, I'd like to say that I love your show.
Oh, thank you.
You're welcome. My husband and I want to go on a world adventure backpacking trip because we want to find more meaning in our life.
Oh, and you're going to find it up there in the mountains, right?
We hope so.
You're going to spend $50,000 to find the meaning of life.
Yes, and we want to know if
Didn't
we
you
can
see The Wizard
afford
of
it.
Oz? Didn't you see that?
Yes,
Yeah, you're
many
off
years
to
ago.
see the financial wizard. Okay, go on. Show me the money.
Okay. Combined, we make $6,500 a month.
Yeah.
Our home is paid outright. Also, our car is paid outright. We have $66,000 in savings, $325 in CDs, $25 in a 401.
And where are you going to
no debt.
And where
No
are you going to
debt.
get the $50,000 from?
Well, we're thinking of using some of our savings once we sell the house.
Oh, so wait a minute. You're going to sell the house. How much is the house worth?
$430.
And you own it outright?
Correct.
So you're going to have $430,000 there plus all the other money?
Yes.
And at 43, you want to know if you can take $50,000. You're not going to have any expenses here in the United States because you're just flying it out of here, right?
Yes,
That's
completely.
Right. Can you afford it?
Yes, can we?
Yeah, you can, but I don't know why you would want to. Okay, I personally think you could find the meaning of life, really, without having to spend $50,000 to do so. Did you all see the film Into the Wild or read the book? Pam, what is it that you want to buy?
Hi, Susie. I would like to finish my basement.
Your basement, okay, yes.
And I feel that it would cost to do it to the degree that I would like about $10,000.
And you want to finish the basement so that you can rent it out. So why do you want to finish the basement?
I want to finish the basement so that I can have more space for my family to enjoy living in. Also for guests that come to visit instead of everyone having to sleep on different beds and just more recreation area and to increase the value of our home.
Girlfriend, show me the money.
Okay, our combined monthly income is $6,700.
Yes.
We have a $250,000 30-year mortgage.
Yeah.
And right now I do have credit card debt in the amount of $16,000.
So if you have $16,000 of credit card debt, you're already in the financial basement if you ask me. Where are you going to get another $10,000 to make another basement?
Yes, that would be my question.
Well, here's the answer to that. Denied! You cannot afford it until you have the money to do so and until you're out of credit card debt. All of you can sleep together and do whatever you want, but you're not going to get a basement. Judy, what do you want to buy?
Yes, my husband would like to buy a 50-inch plasma TV.
Your husband, does that mean you don't want him to?
Not really.
Do you want me just to deny you when it can be between the two of us?
No, Missy's right here.
Oh, sorry. Okay. Let me see. Show me the money.
Well, we make about $15,000 a month.
Yes.
But we have a $615,000 30-year mortgage.
Yes.
We do have about $80,000 in savings.
Which is pretty good at the age of 30, don't you think?
It's all right.
It's all right. Okay, go on.
And we have about $100,000 in our retirement account.
Uh-huh. So, and how much are you going to pay? Where are you going to get the money to pay for $4,500?
Well, we're going to pay for it either out of our savings or if the store has a special promotion for financing, then we were going to do that.
All right. Now, Judy, you have called into the Suze Orman Show to ask if you can afford it. Whether or not you should buy it, remember, everybody, isn't part of the equation. My judgment, my feelings, I try to take out of it. Can you afford it? Yes, you can. You've been approved. I'm sorry, because I know, my dear Judy, you so wanted me to deny you. Want to be part of the Can I Afford It segment? Please go to my website, SuzeOrman.com, and put right there what it is that you want to buy. And if you get to, come on, I'll tell you if you can afford it or not.
They've been borrowing out from me for years. It's always, last minute they need something to pay off whatever. They never repay these loans.
You cannot continue to save people who don't want to save themselves. Also,
I have a savings account and no debt, and my husband has credit card debt.
And you think joining your money, combining your money that you have safe and sound, you think that's going to solve his spending problems?
No.
Welcome back to the Suze Orman Show. Kimberly in New Jersey, you're on the air.
Hi, Susie. My husband and I got married last year, and our finances are still completely separate. The only thing we have together is our wedding money, which is in a savings account. I need your advice on how to wisely join our finances together. I have a savings account and no debt, and my husband has credit card debt. I know he's apprehensive with me controlling the finances, but the current system we have isn't working.
All right, tell me before you go on, tell me what's not working about it? The fact that he keeps spending money he doesn't have?
And yes, and he's not putting it towards his credit card debt.
And you think joining your money, combining your money that you have safe and sound, you think that's going to solve his spending problems?
No.
No. So why do you want to do that?
Well, I just thought that now that we are married, we shouldn't have pay for everything separately, and the things that we pay together.
But why do you want to use your money to pay for his irresponsible financial behavior?
Mm-hmm.
Why do you want to do that? Just because you're married? That's going to make you angrier. I mean, the only way, in my opinion, that your husband will finally become a financial adult is when he starts seeing, truthfully, the differences between how much you have when you're responsible with money versus how much you don't have when you're irresponsible with money. If you keep saving him and paying down his credit card debt with the money that you've saved, you're going to end up with no money. Because he's going to spend you into poverty. Because he's not going to grow up. Because why? Mommy, who's now his wife, you're acting like his mother if you have to take care of him that way, is going to save him. Did his mother always save him when he was growing up?
I don't know.
Oh, possibly, huh?
Mm-hmm.
You got a feeling between you and me, you got a feeling that's what went on? He never had to become an adult because his parents always saved him, especially his mother? Got a feeling that might be true?
Possibly.
Possibly. Why is it hard for you to say that? This is reality. This is how life is. It's not something to be ashamed of. It's not something that makes him a bad person.
Mm-hmm.
It's not something that makes him an evil person. It just makes him a financial baby. So tell him to grow up. Corey in Virginia, how are you tonight?
Hi, Susie. It's great to be talking to you. You are my heroine.
Oh, thank you, Corey. Thank you so much. So tell me what's on your mind.
Well, I'm always been a saver ever since I've been a little teeny girl, saving my pennies and nickels. But my family has been the spenders. We're kind of like the ant and the grasshoppers in the fairy tale.
Yes.
And they've been borrowing out from me for years. It's always, last minute they need something to pay off whatever. And I always bail them out because I've been blessed and worked hard, but still, I'm way ahead of where they are. But they never repay these loans. They all have jobs. They're low paying, but they all do work. And I'm afraid right now my younger sister's going to lose the house she inherited from my parents with no mortgage or anything. And I had bought her a car 5 years ago because she was taking care of my elderly parents who were both very ill. So she had no car payments, no house payments, and still looks like she may lose the house. She just hit me up for another $10,000 loan that I had to say that I couldn't do. I've just I just retired and I don't have that much income coming in. And then she starts crying and she sighs and she wants to be dead. And it's like, I want to give in, but I really feel like for my own benefit to not lose my house, I can't do that. I dread their phone calls, and I don't know what to do. I think she's probably a lost cause, but what I'd like to do is get your information. How can I help my niece and my grandniece who are much younger, who are sort of heading in that direction? How do I teach them to learn to help themselves without using my money?
Mm-hmm. You say no out of love versus yes out of fear. That is my new line for the rest of my life, I think, when it comes to women and money. Women say yes to their relatives, to people who ask them for money, because they are afraid about how other people will think of them if they say no. But if you really loved somebody, if you really want to help somebody become as strong as they're supposed to be, then you say no because you love them and because it isn't the right thing to do. You cannot continue to save people who don't want to save themselves. And you said you dread their calls.
Absolutely.
What is that about? And here you are. How old are you now?
I just turned 60.
You just turned 60. Do you own your home outright?
Yes, I do. I finally paid off the house because I figured that way it wasn't money I could funnel off to them because it was sitting there. So
no, that way you figured it wasn't money that you had accessible, so you didn't have to feel guilty about saying no to them, because then you could legitimately say to them, I'm sorry, I don't have the money.
Right.
Versus being a woman who owns the power to control her destiny and be able to look at them and say, I love you so much, I'm going to say no. This is the last time I'm going to say this to you. Don't bother coming to me again. I have bailed you out in the past. It didn't help you. Nothing I have done financially has changed your ways, and it hasn't helped you. Therefore, I am going to start to save myself. I'm going to help myself, and you may think that's selfish. You may think that I don't love you, but again, I'm going to say no to you out of love versus yes to you out of fear of what you're going to think about me. And if there's any lesson, any gift that you really want to give to who? Your niece and your nephew, teach them that the greatest lesson of all is one of self-reliance. Teach them that nobody's going to save you. You have got to save yourself when it comes to money. Jamar, you have a question for me tonight.
Yes, good evening, Susie, and thank you for taking my call.
Anytime.
Okay, my question is, I have a question about a student loan company garnishing our taxes from a loan that we're currently paying.
Mm-hmm. Garnishing your tax refund, correct?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, all right. So they took your tax refund from you because why? You were late on payments? You had gone in default? What happened?
We was in default. My wife, she took out some student loans. She was in nursing school, but she had become pregnant. And we contacted the student loan company and began automatic payments every month so that our tax return would not be taken.
However, so let's just get this straight, because, you know, whenever I need to know information about student loans, so he has educated me so well on this topic, I can't tell you. His name is Mark Kantrowitz. He happens to be the publisher of the FindAid.org newsletter and that site that goes out. You should all go there, by the way, when you want information on student loans. He is wonderful, but here's the bottom line. When you are in default of a student loan, you can get out of default, but you have got to be making payments on time for at least 6 months, and then you're out of default. I would bet you any amount of money that you were not out of default for at least 6 months when the IRS came in and garnished or took your tax refund. Is that true?
That is correct.
That is correct. So now your question to me really is, how do you prevent this from happening again? And the answer to that is, don't let your student loans go. So many times people think it's so easy. They won't do anything for it to me. I'll just not pay my student loan. I don't care. I have other payments to make. I have to make my rent, my mortgage, Student loans are probably one of the most important loans you have got to pay, because when you don't pay it, What happens to you is what happens to everybody. They have the legal authority to garnish your wages, to get your tax refunds, to do all kinds of things. So don't ever let your student loans go into default again. Here's the problem. If you cash out your 401k, it's going to get you into tax problems all over again. Welcome back, everybody. There's all kinds of ways you can ask me a question right here on the Suze Orman Show. One way is by email. Come on, type in your email, send it in, and maybe it will get chosen and I get to answer it, which is why Lou comes on the set. Yep. He reads them to me.
I got them right here.
How are you tonight?
Good, how are you? I got a quick question in relation to this email I'm going to read. What do you think of the tax code? Are you a flat tax girl? Like, what do you think of the current
Are you asking me a political question?
I am. Well, is it political?
I think it's kind of political.
All right.
I actually would like to go to a flat.
Really?
Absolutely.
I had a feeling.
Absolutely.
That's why I asked.
You really don't want to know what I really think.
I do, but maybe you don't want to say.
You don't want to know what I think about half the things that go on in the United States today when it comes to our politicians, our tax code. Now you got me aggravated.
Sorry.
Read me the email.
Sorry. I'm sorry. I apologize.
Yeah, you got it.
Kathleen, age 55 in California. We have been hit with a large sum owed to the IRS. We cannot afford to fight it any longer. Our question is, would it be better for us to cash out a small 401k plan and pay down the IRS debt as much as we can, then take out a loan to pay off the rest and be done with the IRS, or set up a payment plan with the IRS?
Oh, boy, you never want to mess with them. You never want to mess with them. Here's the problem. If you cash out your 401k, it's going to get you into tax problems all over again, because when you cash out a 401k, you will owe ordinary income tax on the entire amount you cashed out. And if you're not of the proper age when you do so, it's going to be a 10% penalty as well. If you don't have the money to pay your taxes now, how are you going to get to pay your taxes on your 401k and what you owe? No, don't do that. Don't do that. Don't do that. Here's the thing. If you can take out a loan at a lesser interest rate from someplace else and pay off the IRS, that's what you should do. Lesser interest rate than what? Than what the IRS is going to charge you to work out a loan problem with them. Might want to check, what are your payments to the IRS? What would your payments be if you qualified even for another loan? And then you will be able to decide which one you should do. People need to stop looking at their retirement accounts, their 401k plans, as their savior to their financial problems. Don't people also understand, do you know that if you ever had to claim bankruptcy, do you know this, Lou?
No. Well, I don't know. Tell me.
I'm telling you.
It's a loaded question.
Your 401k plans are protected. Your retirement accounts are protected. You're not going to get that money taken from you if you ever claim bankruptcy. And if you can't pay the IRS, chances are you might be claiming bankruptcy one day. All right.
Gotcha. So what do you think about Social Security? I'm just kidding.
Heck out of here. Get out of here. What do I think of Social Security? What do I think about flat taxes? What do I think about politics? A lot. But here's what I know for sure. There's only one thing that matters when it comes to your money, and it is this. People first, then money, then things. Now, till next Saturday night, you